Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Oviedo City Council meeting. It is Thursday, September 6th. It is approximately 6:30 p.m. We have all members of council present. At this time, we have our Pledge of Allegiance, and we will turn it over to Councilwoman to lead us in it tonight. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, that's number 3 for me. All righty, our next order of business is our invocation, and Chief White, are you up to it this evening? Thank you, sir. Sorry. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good evening. We brought, as we always do, this anniversary week, but a few days is the 11th anniversary of September 11th, and we have on display, of course, a piece of metal that was awarded to us from the World Trade Center. It's one of the main steel girders out of one of the 2 buildings. Just kind of as a refresher, it was over 2,700 people that died during that event, 184 at the Pentagon, 40 on the flight to Shanksville, Pennsylvania, 343 FDNY firefighters, 23 New York police officers, 37 Port Authority police, and 8 EMS. So we're always mindful this time about that event. So tonight I think it's appropriate to remember them. If you could bow your heads with me. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. We thank you for this great city. We thank you for the economic recovery that we're beginning to realize. We pray, Lord, for that end. Lord, we pray for any person in the audience tonight that's suffering any affiliation or illness or their family. We pray for Brian Cobb and his family, ask for safe travels for him and comfort them during their loss. And Lord, we particularly pray this week for the families, the friends, the relatives, the co-workers in our country of all those that were lost at September 11th. Help heal. Help us remember. Let us never forget. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief. All righty, moving right along, we're up to ceremonial items and presentations, which we have none this evening. And we are going to move on to our first order of business, which is the budget public hearing to adopt the fiscal year 11-12 tax rates and budget. At this time, I'll briefly turn it over to our city manager, Ms. Brazil. Ms. Brazil.
Thank you very much, Mayor and members of council. We are pleased tonight to present you with the proposed budget for fiscal year 12-13. I would like to take this opportunity to sincerely thank all the staff that have put such hard work and their time and their effort in preparing a very efficient, very responsible budget for the citizens of Oviedo for your consideration tonight. Particularly Robin Hayes, who has led this effort for us, and Ms. Gail Bigelow, who have helped put this together, and every one of the departments. This is a tremendous effort and very time-consuming for our departments, but they went through this piece by piece, and we're proud of the end result of the budget before you. We were able to maintain the tax rate at the current millage, and we were able to reduce the budget revenues and expenditures, and we were still able to provide excellent services for the citizens of Oviedo. So with that, if there are any questions, I'm here, Robin's here, to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Brazil. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, I will state that the proposed millage rate of 4.8626 mils is a tax decrease of 0.36% compared to what would have been the rollback rate of 4.8804 mils. At this time, is there anybody in the audience who would like to address council on the budget, or on the millage, excuse me? Seeing none, we will close public comments, and I'd like to entertain a motion to have the city attorney read the title of the millage levy resolution number 2559-12.
Second.
We have a motion in multiple seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Groot.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. A resolution establishing the millage rates to be levied for fiscal year 2012-2013 by the City of Oviedo City Government, adopting the millage rates for the 2012-2013 fiscal year for the City of Oviedo at the overall rate of 5.1697 mils, with 4.8626 mils for the city's operations and .3071 mils for payment of the 2003 general obligation bond issue, expressing legislative and administrative findings and intent, and providing for implementing administrative actions, savings provision, conflict, severability, and an effective date. That's the resolution by title, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Groot. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the millage levy resolution number 2559-12. Upon adoption, the millage rate will be set at 4.8626 mils, which is 0.36% lower than what the rollback rate could have been. So taxes have gone down again.
Mayor,
Councilman?
make a motion to adopt.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Councilman? Deputy Mayor? Councilwoman?
Great work. Thank you.
Councilman Shank?
Great work. Thank you, everybody.
Well, I think that's year 4 in a row now that the millage has has gone down. And I know it saved our homes. It seems a little funny, but it did actually go down. With that being said, the motion on the table is to adopt the millage. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This time, I'd like to entertain a motion to have the city attorney read the title of the budget resolution number 2560-12.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Groot.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. A resolution adopting the City of Oviedo's annual operating budget for the 2012-2013 fiscal year beginning October 1, 2012, and ending September 30, 2013, expressing legislative and administrative findings and intent, and providing for implementing administrative actions, a savings provision, conflict, severability, and an effective date. That's the resolution by title, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Groot. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2560-12, which is for the fiscal year 2012-2013 annual budget of $65,060,433. That's inclusive of interfund transfers and internal service charges.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and multiple seconds. Councilman Schenk?
Great job.
Councilwoman?
Yes, wonderful job.
Deputy Mayor? Councilman?
Great job, everybody.
I myself will echo what our members have said. The annual budget of $65 million is a few $1 million less than last year, and the service levels are being maintained, and we do appreciate all the hard work of everybody on staff in order to do that. It's, in these times where we've been cutting back, it becomes harder and harder, and you certainly have all stepped up to the plate, and the citizens appreciate it. So thank you very much. With that being said, the motion on the table is to adopt the budget of $65,060,433. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, we are up to our approval of the minutes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th, 2012.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion in multiple seconds. Councilman Schenk, you have anything?
Nope.
Councilwoman?
No.
Deputy Mayor?
Good.
Good? Everyone good? All righty. Motion on the table is to adopt the minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to public comment. I have no written request. I'd like to open it up to the public. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to address council on any item not on our agenda this evening? Seeing none, we will close public comment and move on to the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Bear with me a second. I would just like to note for the record that item 7, which is still on some agendas out there, there has been a continuance asked on that item. Is that correct, Ms. Brazil?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that item will be heard at what date?
September 17th.
September 17th at 6:30. So if anybody has a copy of an agenda showing Resolution 2571-12, which is item number 6, that item has been continued. The only items being adopted this evening on the consent agenda are Resolution number 2566-12 and 2570-12. Motion to agree?
Yes, correct.
Second to agree?
Second.
Who seconded it?
Second.
Any discussion?
Good.
Deputy Mayor? Good. Councilwoman? Councilman Schenk? All righty. Seeing none, the motion on the table is to adopt the 2 resolutions. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, we're up to item number 7, which is our one and only public hearing. It is ordinance number 1548, amendments to the Land Development Code, Article 14, sign regulations. Ms. Brazil.
Thank you. This is a request for City Council to approve amendments to the Land Development Code for the signs to address changeable copy signs. The purpose of the amendment is to implement City Council's direction, which was improvidently misinterpreted by staff at the November 21st, 2011 public hearing. We certainly intend to correct and implement Council's direction in this ordinance.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. I will open it up at this time. I have no request to speak forums. Anybody in the audience who'd like to address council? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing portion of our meeting, and I'd like to entertain a motion to schedule a second public hearing on September 17th of 2012 on ordinance number 1548. It will be here in the City Council chambers at Oviedo City Hall, 400 Alexandria Boulevard, Oviedo, Florida. That hearing will take place at approximately 6:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Councilwoman? Councilman Schenk? Yes, sir. My left? Council?
Good.
All righty. Motion on the table is to schedule the... Lonnie?
Yes, could we go ahead and read that one by title, too, since there's...
Yeah, you know, it wasn't on my procedure list here, so I was just rolling along, brother.
That's okay.
We'll back it up. I would like to entertain a motion to read ordinance number 1548 by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Motion carries. Lonnie, I assume since we were correcting a Scribner's error that maybe we could skip over that part. I reckon not.
We'll go ahead and do it.
That's all right. Lonnie, we'll do whatever you want.
Okay. An ordinance of the City of Oviedo, Florida, amending Article 14 of the Land Development Code of the City of Oviedo, specifically Section 14.7, relating to permanent on-site signs, providing for each message on a changeable electronic variable message sign to be limited to one color on a black background and displayed for at least 4 seconds, providing for implementing administrative actions, providing for a savings provision, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for codification, and providing an effective date. That's the ordinance by title.
Thank you for correcting us, Mr. Groot. I do appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to schedule the second public hearing on ordinance number 1548 for September 17th, 2012, here in the Oviedo City Council chambers, 400 Alexandria Boulevard, Oviedo, Florida, 32765 at approximately 6:30 p.m.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, call the vote. All in favor of the motion to schedule the public hearing for September 17th, 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. First reading of ordinances, we have none. Resolutions, we have none. Discussion items, we have none. City Manager's report.
Thank you. I do have a few items for you this evening. First of all, we received information for the Institute for Elected Municipal Officials. If anyone is interested in attending October 19th through 21st, I have the information. Please let me know.
Okay.
Second item is you all have in your box a copy of the recent public budget prospectus for you for the third quarter, according to our 555 plan, where we have presented that for you for the third quarter. And in addition, we wanted to bring to your attention the tax abatement referendum that you all have approved, and that will be on the ballot for November. And John Jones, our economic development coordinator, has provided a draft copy of some information regarding that upcoming referendum, and I'd like to provide you with the draft as it is right now. And if you see any item that's on there you would like to have changed, we will coordinate that for you, but we will be getting that out as soon as possible.
What is the timetable? that you need comments back from us.
If you could get that back within the next week, that would be great. We've gone through it, and our economic development coordinator has approved it, and we just like your feedback as soon as possible. Next week would be preferable.
All righty, so if we set a date of Wednesday, which would be the 12th, for comments back
That's
to
doable.
staff.
That would be great.
And if you don't hear from us, just roll it.
By the 12th. Thank you.
By the 12th. Close of business.
And finally, just want to share some good news with you. Oviedo was identified in Florida Water Resources Journal. I don't know if any of you get a copy of this, but we had a wonderful article about our water conservation initiatives. And I've made a copy for each of you of that as well.
Great. Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you so much. Moving along. Mr. Groot?
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. Moving along, Deputy Mayor.
Just a couple things. First off, I did attend the CalNO meeting last night, and it was announced a few things that came out of that. One is there was a presentation on a initiative the county is supporting called Rethink, which is a kind of an out-of-the-box program to look at different ways to move people from either the rail to the schools, the different Seminole State campuses, and around the community from the rail. They asked if we could possibly arrange for them to come and do a short presentation in front of each of the councils. So,
They want to come and do a ceremonial?
yeah, just a 15-minute presentation on what they're all about. If we can do that, I have the package here. I can give the Kathleen.
Yeah, just coordinate it with the clerk's office, and that way we don't have too many things stacking up.
Right. Okay. The other thing that came out from Lake Mary was that they are going to open a Care Here clinic. They bought a doctor's office that was closed and are going to move forward with that. So there's a possibility of some synergy with the city of Lake Mary providing those benefits. And the last thing was, I believe Commissioner Delary is working on a ribbon cutting for the bridge, the walking bridge over the Central Hammock, what is it? Redbug Road, yeah.
Yeah, kind of technically.
So we can look forward to that. The only other thing I have is, Bobby, I hate to put you on the spot, but I think you know the answer to this question. We got an email from a resident in Twin Rivers regarding the installation of the reuse water lines, and was somewhat concerned about the quality of the repaving over the water lines. But I went by there today, and I think I answered my question when I drove by there. All of those streets are being repaved. Correct. In there, so the area that got the new reuse lines, those streets will be repaved and look.
Actually, yeah, the entire roadway's been repaved.
Right.
Not just the cut in the road, but the entire road.
Right. Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure we had that clear. And I'm sure you've gotten back with the resident, but that's good news to know that they don't have that scar going through there. Thanks. That's all I got.
All righty, terrific, thank you. I am up next. Got a few different items to discuss this evening. First item, Bobby, you should have just stayed up here. I'm sorry. Sorry, Bobby. I'll do the first item first, so I have you up here. Today was Metro Plan Day, and I am pleased to report that 419 and 426 is moving up the list. We're up to number 9 right now from number 11, so we are advancing. But Bobby, there was one thing that I did notice about the rankings, and I'm sure you have a copy of this. If not, I'll share it with you. Our project is still out there with the estimated cost of $65 million. Now, that was the cost from when we did the PD&E back in, gosh, that was 2006 or 2007. My question to you is, do you think that it may behoove us to get an update on the estimate from, I think it was Inwood who did it for us?
That's correct.
And provide that estimate to the MPO?
Yes, I can make that happen.
The reason being is that we are the most expensive project on the list currently, and we know that the roadway isn't going to be $65 million in today's dollars. So if we could look into that, if you think that would be a good idea, and with the consensus of council, I would think that we should
We can do that, yes, sir.
just get an update from Inwood and send it on over.
Can do.
Thank you. That's all I had for you. That was easy. Next item is we were down at Florida League of Cities last week, and, as usual, those meetings that we have are beneficial and fruitful, and I know we all came back with a little something different from all the different charrettes that we went to. So we have that in the back room to share, and I gave Bobby some of the stuff that I came back with. Yesterday we had a lunch with Congressman Mica here in Oviedo that was hosted by Citizens Bank, and it was just a small gathering, a whole bunch of stakeholders in town, got to sit with the congressman, just have some lunch, and talk about a whole plethora of issues. And it's just amazing when you actually sit down with the folks from the financial end of our world and the bankers, and you listen to the regulations that they're being stifled with, and then we wonder why this economy isn't moving forward. So it was a real healthy discussion. I had an interview this week also with a young lady from the Oviedo High School paper, Lion's Tale, about Oviedo on the Park. So that was exciting. She got a big kick out of it, and we're going to get some press in their paper. I have two more quick items. I was asked today by school board member Dee Dee Schaffner if she would mind if we gave the school board about 15 minutes at our next meeting. They are obviously coming out with the 1 mil sales tax, ad valorem tax. They would like to spend some time here with us and introduce us to their spokesman and supporter, Magic coach or ex-coach Stan Van Gundy. He has signed up with them to actually help promote the 1 mil, and they want to bring him down here, bring him out to all the commissions, not just ours, of course, and ask for, I guess, support or just take a few minutes. So if that's all right with everybody.
One way to pick his brain about the upcoming NBA season.
I told Ms. Schaffner that all it would take is an autograph for Councilman Henkin, and he's there. So I'm sure we can make that happen. Last item on my list, and Ms. Brazil, I'm going to turn to you for this. About a month ago, you brought to us an issue that we were having with FEMA, and at the night of our council meeting, we didn't have much information to go on. And there was a lot of speculation that went around our community about what was really happening, and I guess what we found out is that there was some double billing, but we have the $900,000 sitting in the bank for return. The only reason it wasn't returned was we were appealing a whole bunch of other issues. So can you update the public once and for all on where we're at, what happened, why it happened, and why it isn't any big deal?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you for reminding me of that. It certainly has not turned out to be nearly as bad as we thought it was at first. The $1.5 million letter that we received, upon further investigation, we did identify that $976,000 of that has been identified. It was a double billing error the city has been aware of for many years, and as I mentioned that night, we knew we had some of it booked, meaning it has already been reserved, so it's not impacting our fund balance levels in any way. The additional $500 and some thousand was what was still in appeals. It has been appealed. We have actually won multiple appeals on the same methodology that we are appealing this amount of. So we feel very good about our chances on appeal, and we've had conversations with the state and Congressman Mica's office, and everyone's been very, very helpful in helping us to come to a very positive resolution to this. And the bottom line is we anticipate that the worst impact for us might be an additional $212,000.
Right. Now, out of that 212, let's just not leave that number out there like last time. That 212 are denied claims, common of FEMA, for removal of brush on private property, essentially.
I wouldn't characterize it that way. It's more of the methodology of how we build after a certain number of hours, the initial 70 hours, 70, 72 hours in a hurricane. You're allowed to essentially get reimbursed in one format, and then after that time, you don't use time and materials anymore. You have to change to a different methodology where you use cubic yardage at an 18.55 cent rate, something to that effect. So we failed back in 2004, I guess, to convert after the 72 hours. That's essentially what happened. So we've gone back and recalculated had we used the correct methodology after the 72 hours and used the cubic yardage method we would only be responsible for the additional 211, 212.
Right, so that is just going back, readjusting the billing, but, and I don't mean to correct you, but I've seen some of the paperwork. There are some items that are being disallowed because they were picked up on private property. I mean, that is a bulk of what that 211 is. Some of it is, you are correct, some of the billing methodology, but, so what folks need to realize is out of that 212 that we are paying FEMA back, had we not acted as swiftly as we did, our city would have just been under debris. Power lines wouldn't have been turned back on as quickly as we got everything back into order. Your streets wouldn't have been as cleared. And this is common with other cities. Now, Mr. Groot, if I can bother you for a second, how many of your cities that you recommend had to pay FEMA back a couple $100,000?
City of Sanford did, and I'm not sure about Daytona Beach Shores and Lake Helen.
Okay.
But every city always has issues with FEMA post hurricane.
So the 1.5 million that was brought up is down to 200,000, with part of that 200,000 being picking up stuff on private property in order to get the city back in working order.
Correct, and the rest is probably
Just billing.
legitimately billing.
Yeah,
Correct.
just billing issues and the convoluted way that FEMA does things after a 72-hour period. Great. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. Anybody have any questions on that issue, or did I cover it all? With that being said, that is the end of my report. Councilman Schenk, you're up.
I'll just say it was a good time down in Florida League of Cities. I also came back with some very good material from, again, we kind of scattered to different conferences and came back with different materials and provided the city manager with some of that. But I think it was very good overall, except that we all were running after, trying to run ahead of a hurricane possibly. Again, thanks for the budget work, Robin especially. We know you're here many hours, and everybody else who was putting in the time, we really appreciate it. Chamber monthly meeting was today, and the mayor did a wonderful job, along with Winter Springs and the mall, describing to the chamber what's going on in the respective cities, what's going on at the mall. We were very well and enthusiastically greeted, and I think it went very, very well. Where I was sitting, there was a lot of interest, and everybody was very excited to see that the town center is moving forward, to hear that the mall's up, what was it, 7%, he said? Year to date, month to month, year to date, it's 7% increase. That some of the, the Sears is one of the top.
Sears is the number top 20 in the country. Sales growth.
Out of 800 Sears, ours is the top 20, and grow. So it's you start hearing the numbers. He's thrilled. He goes, hey, I'd be happy, some of the other stores.
Was number 1 or 2.
In the district, consistently in the district, and Dillard's was doing better time over time. Not setting records like the other, but time over time doing better. And as he said, I'll take that any time. So it's very good to hear that the mall's doing better. Their counts were over 6 million car counts, shopper trips, that they put out car counters. So it was very good. They were very excited. And again, very excited to hear the presentation. The mayor showed his enthusiasm for his display of the town center.
You didn't make fun of my PowerPoint.
I didn't. It was very good. It all worked out very nice, like I said.
Thank Robin for it.
The members really appreciated it. There were very few questions, and they all related to mainly town center. So that showcases that's where their interest level is. That's it. Thank you very much.
We are up to, Councilman Hankins. Sorry, wrong way. Sorry. Councilwoman gets to shoot the anchor.
Exactly.
You want to go now? I don't mind. Change the place with you now.
Any football games on?
Just real quick, onto the budget. I like to save my kudos for my report, but you've been hearing things the last couple of weeks about the city and all this stuff, but the city's in very good shape. The budget that we have, when I got here, was $74 million total. Now it's $65 million. So I don't want to hear that we don't streamline. The city is streamlined, humming on all cylinders, and there is no problem. The mayor touched on that FEMA thing. everybody thought this was some big conspiracy. From what I understand, it's like 80 cities had this same issue, and the private property and trying to get the residents cleaned up in 2004, which every member of this board, whether they were elected or not, was out there walking and educating and what have you. So that was good. Something else that needs to be, a good kudos to is to Jerry for refinancing all those bonds. When you see your tax bill and the trim notices that you got, you notice that that's all going to be less. And that's because the staff took a look at everything. Sometimes people sit home at night and they watch these news shows and they hear all about the federal government and they get all fired up. Oh, that must be happening at the local level. Well, everybody here will vouch. I told Senator Nelson a couple years ago, you all need to do it like we do in Oviedo, sitting in his office. And Mayor, you were there. You heard me do it. I said, the federal government, the state government is just, they got so many issues, but your city is in good hands, very good hands. So I'm proud of you all. You did a great job. And just in closing, I just want to congratulate Councilwoman and Councilman Shank on their qualification, got their elections coming up. You're both doing great. Good, big part of this team. And Catherine, you've done a great job and your staff. So we're in good shape. Oviedo is in good shape. Hear me loud and clear. There's no problems. We're good. Thank you.
Councilwoman.
Well, there's good and there's bad about being the last speaker. The bad is you've all covered it, basically.
That's good.
The good is you've all covered it.
Why don't you tell us how the luncheon was today?
The luncheon, I will start with that. The luncheon at the chamber, and I have to tell the mayor, he did an excellent, excellent job. His enthusiasm came across, his knowledge about Oviedo on a Park came across. We were, well, he did make one mistake about an adult store or something like that.
You need a new terminology for adult entertainment.
But,
Saying the word adult entertainment to describe restaurants and the like is not really, doesn't work very well.
See what I saw. Half the people were, and half the people were, oh, yeah.
Well, Catherine and I looked
You're
at
right,
each
I
other and
do
went,
have to find
oh, we had a heart attack. But you, Mayor, you did a
Thank you.
wonderful job, represented the city, represented the project very well. I think everybody was enthusiastic, excited about what's coming to Oviedo. I think they enjoyed hearing about the mall and everything they have in store and how they're progressing and moving forward. I think things are really good. And
Tell me about Winter Springs. That plan that they have along 434 from the Greenway, and I say it all the time. It's what's good for them is good for us.
that's right. We have good relations with our neighbors, very good relations. I'd like to say thank you to Catherine and Robin and everyone involved in the budget. I like the way it was done this year. I think it was very clear, very precise, and the format was just very, very easy to read, very transparent for anyone who wanted to come in and look to see how we're spending our money. I think you went through line by line, pulled out things that were necessary. We took things and put them in the right categories, and I just want to compliment you on it. I really actually enjoyed budget this year. Usually it's a nightmare. The conference was great. Yes, we learned a lot. We did get chased out of there by the hurricane. I have Leadership Seminole tomorrow. I think the mayor does also for Government Day. The chief is going to be there. And Catherine is going to be there. That's right. Catherine's attending. So I will see you there, and just thank you, everyone.
I'll be there representing Class 17.
Well,
The best class, right, Chief?
Oh, you're going to be there too?
that'd be nice, but Class 19
Oh, you're-
is the most accomplished class, so.
Well, we
And
should
then
have
I
a
know
little
Chief White,
Oviedo
your
corner.
class didn't even have a number. Brian, did your class have a number? 14. Okay, you were 14. And Shank, you were 18.
18, the best class.
Right, it was 17, 18, 19. And
21.
You were 21. 20 was Capetillo, right? 22.
Robin, you're in charge of the city tomorrow.
That's right, none of us are going to be here. I'll give signature authority over to Deputy, Deputy Mayor's not going to do it. Hankin, you're it, brother.
You're the only guy left again.
You're the only one who's going to be here
Pay
again.
raises around the ring for everybody.
Half day for everyone.
Anything else, Councilwoman? I'm
No,
sorry.
that's it.
See, and you know what else happens when you go last? Everybody gets a little itchy and we all talk over your report, so. But anyway, let's announce future meeting dates. We have Monday, September 17th at 6:30 p.m., regular session. Monday, October 1st, also a regular session, 6:30 p.m. Monday, October 15th, we have a CRA meeting at 5:30 p.m., and then we have our regular meeting at 6:30 p.m. With all that being said, are there any other announcements? Seeing none, this meeting is adjourned.